Mitch, and it is Wednesday, July 18th, 2018, with your free live show. It's going to go over college football today, but we got some games. We got WNBA action, and we have British Open golf that starts tomorrow, so we can go over both of those instead. I know you guys would way rather hear free picks than, about what's going on now than the future bets on the football, which we'll have. We'll do all that stuff. So we got plenty of time, and of course, this way we get to see who's in camp, who's healthy, what the quarterback battles look like at some of these schools where, Alabama, Miami, where, last year's starting quarterback might not be this year's starting quarterback, even though they're still on the team and still healthy. But, of course, we got free picks every single game, every single day at sportschatplace.com. And if you're looking for our best bets, you can get that over at sportschatexperts.com. One thing I wanted to talk about, and I was going to do a video on it today, and I probably still will, that I'll post at the site and on our YouTube page, where we have kind of the index of picks. I want to talk about ROI really quickly. And something that I see out there, and someone posted in my Facebook group about other people's videos and whatever and their record. And yeah, they have a good record, but the problem here is ROI. It has nothing, sports betting has nothing to do with record. I'll say it 1,000 times. It has nothing to do with record. It has everything to do with ROI. ROI can correlate to your record, meaning that, your record, I used a big word there, never really used the big ones, right? But there it is. ROI doesn't necessarily mean, like, if you have a good record, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a good ROI. ROI is basically the amount that you won. Okay, it's your return on investment. Just because you have a winning record doesn't mean you won money. Just because you have a losing record doesn't mean you lost money in sports betting. So people that just post their record, it doesn't mean anything. It means that they don't know what they're talking about. If you just post your record, and if you're a sports handicapper and you don't post your ROI in ROI form, you do not know what you're doing. And I would tell you one thing. You go to one of their websites or you listen to them say, and the first thing they say is their record. You say, that's a person that's a sports handicapper or thinks they're a sports handicapper that has no idea what they're doing and they don't know what they're talking about. I give the example all the time of the Houston Astros. Okay, if the Houston Astros are minus 200 every single game this season, okay, if they're minus 200 and you give out the Houston Astros every single day and they win 102 games, so they're 102 and 60, okay, 42 games over 500, but they're minus 200, you've won $2,400, or you've won $2,200, you've won 100 at 102, you've won 20. If you bet $100 on every game, you've won $1,200. But if you've lost $1,200. So if that makes any sense. So it's 60 times 2 times 200. You've lost. And you've won 100 times 102. You've lost money. You've gone 42 games over 500, and you've lost money. So if your record is 162 in baseball, it's possible you lost a lot of money. So if you listen to these guys, and the first thing they tell you is what their record is, it's a joke. I'll tell you, as someone in the business, it's upsetting. So I would just say ROI is the most important thing. Guys that state it is form of a record, it's meaningless. Especially now you move into football. These guys are giving out money line picks. A team could be minus 600-700 in football. If they lose, that's like going 0-7. It's not one loss. That's like going 0-7. Because you need 7 wins on the other side of that just to break even. So stating a record means nothing. It's got to be in the form of ROI. When you look at Sports Chat Experts and you look at picks and parlays, it's always stated in how many units you won and how many units you lost. We never look at the handicapper's record. We never say this guy went 50 and 100. because you can go 50 and 100 and make money. If you took all big underdogs and then, 100 of them lost and 50 of them won, as long as they were plus an average of plus 200 or better, you made money. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. I see it all the time. I see it every day. And someone even posted in my Facebook group how this guy's on fire and this guy's on fire. No. That guy gave out the Houston Astros at minus 420 the other day. That's like going 0-4. If you bet on a team and they're minus 420, that's 0 and 4.2. That's what that equals. It's not 0-1. It's not one loss in the record book. It's 4.2. See, because it's return on investment. It's not one loss. It doesn't make any sense to me, and it's if anything, it's annoying. But anyways, we have some, like I said, we have WNBA and British Open today that we're going to go over. We're going to give out some free picks. But I am going to do a whole thing on ROI, and we're going to show some screenshots of other people's websites. Guys that can't even spell ROI. We're not going to say who they are. We're just going to show you other people's websites where they state their record, and then we'll show you what they won't. They don't show you what their picks are, but we'll tell you what their picks are because we can look at their videos or whatever, and we could say that these are all like minus 200 teams, minus 250, minus 275. If you buy an expert pick from somebody and they give you the Houston Astros at minus 400 and change, you've been ripped off. There's nothing expert about that. Like, it's like saying the New England Patriots will beat the Browns, outright, just on the money line, like minus 1,200. There's nothing expert about that. You don't need to pay for that. Please don't. This is annoying, man. I don't even understand what half these guys are doing anymore. It's like every year you have these Johnny-come-latelys, these guys that kind of, all of a sudden they start up these handicapping sites or whatever, or start doing videos, and people I don't know, they kind of like buy into the whole thing, like they believe these guys, but meanwhile they don't show their past picks and they don't report their record in terms of ROI. So they are JOKE. And if any of them want to come on here and challenge me, anybody, that's not the case, anybody that states their record as far as record and not ROI, and they want to come here and challenge me on the validity of that, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. We got 3.5 million readers a month here at sportschatplace.com. I will take you on in front of all of them, and we'll undress you because it's absurd. We're young and exciting. No, you're a joke. You can't spell ROI. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. Anyways, let me set up the YouTube. This will be our final days on doing YouTube Live. We're going to only be doing Facebook Live in our Facebook group. So I implore everybody to join us. Oh, man. As, of course, YouTube decides that they don't want to us to get our information in here. We're going to anyway. All right. Let's get to it. like I said, those of you watching on YouTube, you're going to want to join our Facebook group because that's where it will be. Anyways, the WNBA could always kind of go any way, but this is what we do. This is all we got to work with. So these are day games. First game, Chicago Sky up against Seattle. Chicago 7-15 on the season, plus 8.5 in this thing. 5-6 straight up at home though, and 5-6 against the spread on the road. Seattle 6-2 on the road, 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. 16-6 on the season, 6-2 straight up on the road as well. Seattle's been playing some really good basketball. Obviously. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. Their only loss was in overtime, and that was a home game. The thing is that during this stretch in Seattle, only 2 of these games were on the road, but both those games, they covered the spread comfortably. Meanwhile, Chicago's lost 3 in a row. They've lost 6 of their last 7. They haven't covered the spread in any of their last 3 games, but 2 of those were on the road. One of them was at home where they got crushed by Las Vegas by 24 points. It just seems that... this one looks almost too easy, right? The line, it opened at 8.5. It's moved down to 8, and it kind of almost makes sense as to why the line is moving down. It's kind of like that if the world is one way and it looks so obvious one way, then, boy, you would think that certainly would go the other way. But you guys know I love defense, and Chicago doesn't have much of it, allowing 89 points a game while Seattle's allowing 80. When we look at on the road, Seattle scoring almost 90 points a game on the road, while Chicago scoring only 81 at home. And then defensively, Chicago allowing 87 points still a game at home, while Seattle allowing that same 80 that they pretty much allow at home on the road and on the road all season long. This is what you call a shit game. This is one that, let's face it, there's only 2 games today, so we got nowhere else to go. So we're gonna take we will take the favorite here, Seattle, and that'll be our first pick of today's show. One thing that I think about this game, though, I think the over might be the better play. The over set at 175, 175.5. I like the over actually better than the game. So we'll call it the over in this one. Anyways, we're going to do some more free picks here. Of course, we do free picks every single day. We have free picks every single game, every single day at sportschatplace.com. And, of course, our best bets always. So, Jock Richardson, Mitch, what's the best way to bet when the bookies don't do money line? Like, for example, if it's 6-10 or 8-10, does that mean money you get? 6-10 means that you have to bet $10 to win 6. 8-10 means, so it is money line. 8-10 means you have to bet $10 to win 8. So the other side of it, so it's that's minus. It ends up being minus. What is it? Minus 160 on 6-10, and or minus 140, and 8-10 is minus 120. Is what that is. So it's just a conversion on that, Jock, but it's the same. It's the same thing. It's if you win, it's plus 100. If you're betting favorites and you win, it's plus 100. If you're betting underdogs and you win, it's plus whatever the odds are. If you're betting underdogs and they lose, it's minus 100. If you bet a favorite that's minus 170 and they win, and you bet another favorite that's minus 140 and they lose, it's not 1-1. it's minus 40 units. That's all there is to it. There's not really any argument there. There's not really anything, but it's like if you're just stating your record and not stating your units, you're not stating really your return on investment. It's what you call bullshit. It's total bullshit. It's unacceptable, and it's an embarrassment to be in this business and have people state their record that way, basically trying to bilk the public. I mean, I am what I am. You guys see my record. Hey, some days we knock it out of the park. Some days we don't. Either way, I show up here. You know, no matter what happens, I show up. One thing I don't do is say, oh, I was 4-1 yesterday. Yeah, when the one game that I lost was minus 700 and all the other ones were favorites, so they were plus 100. So actually 4-1, I was minus 300. That's not what I do. That's what you call horse shit. It's a joke. And I think that it's time that we call people out on it. Because you look at their websites, they don't even show you what picks they made. They just say, yeah, this is my record. It's like, I'm 100% in games that I pick after they're over. And if you want to know what my record is, oh, yeah, this was my record 2 years ago when I didn't even have a website, didn't do videos, didn't do anything. Yeah, this was my record. You got to be kidding me. What a joke. I mean, I'm upset because I see it, and then somebody called me out on in the Facebook group saying, "Oh, this guy's doing this, and this guy." No. This guy doesn't state his fucking record. He just says this is his record. Totally undocumented, annoying, and you know what? Like Craig Trapp, who's my who I 50-50 partners with on picks and parlays. You know what he says? Don't even listen to these people. I don't know why you let it bother you. And, he's right. But at the same time, it does bother me. I don't know why. But anyways, let's look at the British Open real quick before we get back to our second WNBA game. Tomorrow, by the time we get on the air, the British Open will have already started, so we won't be able to state who we want. Let's see. Top Australian. All right. Look at the British Open, and pretty wide open. The Dustin Johnson is plus 1,015, and he's the favorite in this thing. So if you can bet golf and you can hit winners, you can make a lot of money. You want to talk about ROI? It's right here in golf. You could take a couple of players here and still end up with a positive ROI. So here's how we look at golf with ROI. The amount you make on the winner subtracted by how much you lost on your losers. Pretty simple formula here. So with Dustin Johnson being the favorite at plus 1,015, if we bet on 5 golfers in this, and Dustin Johnson was one of them, and he won, we would still be plus 500 ROI. So that's where going 1 and 5, you actually win money. See, as opposed to the other guys, 5 and 1. Oh, 5 and 1. Yeah, your one loss, you were minus 1,200. You got smoked. Anyways, what do I think of the Kawhi Leonard trade? I think that he's made it crystal clear he wants to go to the Lakers after the season. So I'm not sure why you would give up much for him. I know they are in position to offer him a gigantic contract, but he pretty much has said that he wants to go to the Lakers. So it doesn't make any sense to me. But I'm going to go to the British Open here. Justin Rose at plus 1,550. I like Justin Rose in the British Open. It just seems that he's the kind of steady player that the courses generally favor. He's one of our guys here. Tommy Fleetwood has been steady. He's been playing really well on the European Tour, and he's been playing well on the US PGA Tour as well, and in the big events. I think he's another guy to keep an eye on. He's at plus 2,050. So if we stay in this range right here of the plus 2,050 and above, because that's where we're at already. If one of these guys wins, we're going to be plus 2,000, in ROI. If we just take 5 guys here. A couple other guys that we can look at here is I would say that Patrick Reed is a guy who has just been phenomenal, and at plus 3,550, you almost have to play it. He won the Masters. He was right there in the U.S. Open, and we know that he's a gamer. Every time in the Ryder Cup, just pure guts. So we'll take those 3 golfers, and I'll tell you, so we're minus 300 there, but if any of them hit, we're a minimum of plus 1,200 with if it's Justin Rose. If it's Patrick Reed at plus 3,550, we've made $3,200 on a $300 bet. Pretty good odds there, and think that even at plus 2,050 with Fleetwood, we would make $1,750 on that. Let's throw in Heinrich Stenson at plus 2,850 as well. Let's make it $400 that we'll put on this thing. So we'll take Heinrich Stenson as well, who's the Swede. He's very, very steady, and we'll take him. So that'll be our 4 British Open picks. Those of you wanting the recap there, it's Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Patrick Reed, Heinrich Stenson. Let's get to our last pick of the day, WNBA again. So if you're joining us late, it's been pretty much a rant about ROI today. I'm just sick of these guys that just state their record. They don't even show the picks. I mean, what really gets me, it's not even, well, yeah, it is. It's the whole ROI thing that gets me. But they don't even say what picks they made. Yeah, in 2015, I went this. If you look at our site, you look at anybody. You look at Brian Bittler, you look at myself, you look at Craig Trapp, Rob Vincoletti, any of our handicappers, good, bad, indifferent, any way they slice it, Sean Higgs, you look at anybody, Karpinski, anybody. You go to 2015, you can see every single pick that they made, what the juice was on that, if it was money line, if it was point spread, whatever, total, you can see that exact pick. Super Bowl, national championship. We didn't say we win the national championship. Here's who we had. Here's who we had. Here's the pick. Here's our write-up on the game. It's all there. Annoying, man. Anyways, let's get to that last WNBA game before I blow a gasket. Indiana Fever, Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota minus 14 points in this thing. 12-10 on the season. The Fever 2-20. They are sucking it big time. Meanwhile, their last win at Minnesota, beating the Lynx by 12 as a 14-point dog. The last time they played them. Well, actually, they played Minnesota again. Minnesota won that one by 22 back on July 11th. So these 2 teams have played recently. The last one was at Indiana as well. And, the Fever, obviously looking at the record, just don't get it done. But I'll tell you one thing. I do like Indiana in this one. I just think that their offense is just slightly worse. Their defense, it's worse, but it's not that bad compared to this. As I said, they split the prior 2 meetings. So this game, I figure it will probably be fairly close. 14 is just a ton of points. I'll take the 14 points here and the Indiana Fever. That'll be our 3rd pick for today's show. So our first pick was the over in the Storm Sky game. Our second pick was a grouping of 4 picks for the British Open. And I'll go back over those. It was Justin Rose, Patrick Reed, Tommy Fleetwood, and Heinrich Stenson. Those were our 4 picks for the British Open. And then we took the Indiana Fever plus 14 points against the Minnesota Lynx. Anyways, it's going to wrap up today's show. We'll be back tomorrow. And of course, those of you that joined us late, I also went on a rant about ROI, and I think I'm just going to continue that rant. I'm just going to make a separate video about ROI, and I'm going to hold up signs, and I'm going to show you guys the math. And when these other guys say I went 4-2. Say, what was your ROI? Say, type it in the comments on YouTube. That's nice. What's your ROI? Can you show me every pick you've made? You state these records. Show me every single pick that you've made. Show it to me and have it dated and stamped when you made the pick. If they can't do it, then they're a fraud, and I'm calling them out on it. This is Mitch. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.